Hi. So we have the beginnings of a plan for our project, and it's really been sort of fleshed out in the work breakdown structure. You've also had a chance to look at um, failure modes and effects analysis and look at actions that you had not originally identified in your work breakdown structure. So now we have a number of activities that we would like to plan, which involves who's going to do them and when, and how much are they going to cost. So I'm going to go back to demonstrate the use of a tool that we're going to introduce to you is the Gantt chart, which is it's about 100 years old in terms of when it was first introduced. And we're going to start with this work breakdown structure, and then we're going to sort of populate a Gantt chart with it. And I'm going to show you, first of all, a Gantt chart that I've already done in the uh, Excel project tracker. And I used some sort of summaries of the activities from the work breakdown structure, because to me the tracker is best used on at a pretty high level to summarize. So you can enter in who's responsible and some major goals in the projects or objectives. You can track your costs in terms of what have you budget and what have you actually spent so far, which will show up in this little bar chart down here. But the meat of it is this Gantt chart that's created over here on the right. You want to give yourself a realistic project start date, and then you want to just start listing tasks with some numbers to separate. You don't like to do one. In this particular software, you don't want to do 1, 2, 3, 4, because you could end up remembering or becoming aware of activities that really should go between 1 and 2. So that's why we do 10 and 20. So we could put some numbers in between, activities in between if we need to. So you start off with the title, the task name, set of duration. The first activity you're going to need to start with a manual start date, and then percent complete. Have you worked on it yet or not? And then pre is precedent activities. So what activities necessarily precede? Not every activity has a precedent. Certainly the first one doesn't. And for me, I said, okay, I'm going to do the cause and effect diagram, the work breakdown structure, and I didn't set manual start dates. I just set the precedent relationship, and then the program basically set the start dates for me. So let me show you. I'm going to skip down here to number 90, which is a medium ride in my training. And if I delete this, delete the precedence relationship, it disappears. And not only it, but any activity that depended on and the reason it's got this start date back here of 1/0/1900, so you haven't really deleted it, you've just sent it back to 1900, and that's not going to work. So we'll put it back in there. So this is activity 90, but it's depending, as I'm saying that the medium ride I'm not going to do until I complete the short ride, so I'll put 80 back in. That's a precedent. And when I do, not only does it show up, but the long ride shows up because it depends upon the medium ride, and some other activities that depended on those show up. So this is just a real quick look at the project tracker. You just have to go through and add these in. Now I'm going to show you a look at Project Libre, which I have a link that you could download, free software, a pretty advanced software. So let's take a look at that. So in Project Libre, once you've opened it up, you end up with a screen that looks something like this. I'm going to click New for the new project. I'm going to have a start or a project name, so I'm Bike Across America Plan, and manager is me. And for a start date, I'm going to go back a little ways. I'm going to say we always started this in at the end of August, 8/31, 2020. And this is the plan for, okay, so put in, then it pops up, and you're just going to start, for right now we're not going to put anything back here, but we're just going to start by putting in the names of the activities, and I'm just going to take you just a little ways. So I'm going to say choose route, and duration, well, maybe that's, I think I said in the other one, I said 5 days or something like that. It's red, the color is red over here if it has no precedent. It doesn't depend upon something else. But I'm going to change, because the way I have this in, created in my work breakdown structure, it really looks like choosing a route is a summary task that's built of smaller tasks. So let me show you real quickly how you do that in Project Libre. So I've got identify alternatives, and we'll say that's 1 day, and I want that to be underneath the choose route. So I'm going to go back over here, and I'm clicking on the number of the activity, and I say indent. So I click indent, and now identify alternatives is part of choose route. And so I keep on going. I say establish criteria and weights, and I say that'll take me a day, and I want that to be, going to open up a little bit more window here. I want that to depend on this second one. I want to get the alternatives first, and then I'll choose the weight. So I say that's a 2. That's depends on activity 2, and then for 4 I've got evaluate, and let's just call that a day, and say that that depends on 3, and then finally select confirm choice. We'll say that's a day, and that depends on activity 4. And then when I come back here for the next one, I'm really starting another sort of summary task, and so it shouldn't be underneath these other ones. So I'm going to go here, and I'll right click, and this time I'll say outdent, and so now it's on the same level as choose route. And if I have some subsidiary tasks, then I have to just go through that process again. I go over to the task number, indent it, and now I've made that a subset of the training summary task. So it's a quick view of just some of the capabilities of Project Libre. It's really powerful. If you're not comfortable in learning, and sort of struggling a little bit through a new one, use Excel. But to tell you the truth, I like this. I like this better. It's free. To me, fairly intuitive. So you're going to build your Gantt chart and hopefully learn some valuable lessons as you do so. And you can learn valuable lessons in the tracker as well. So one of the lessons that I learned as I put this into place and looked at, well, one is that I'm really planning a lot of activities that seem to overlap. It's not really likely that I'm going to be very successful at trying to do so many activities during the same time frame. And then it also, when you just keep on scrolling out here, you see there's a lot loaded here in December. And so I'm going to have to do something. This is essentially, it's not a realistic plan, at first implementation. So I would need to juggle the dates around, maybe juggle some of the precedents around, maybe take some of the precedent relationships off and just give them a manual start date at some point in the future. Somehow or another, I have to deal with this. So that's one of the powers of the Gantt chart. It'll give you graphic demonstration of really what your plan looks like across time. And that's just so important. So thanks. Hope this helps.